Hey everyone, welcome back to a brand new expanded deck profile. Today we're going to be talking about one of the flops of the Lost Origin format, a card that I thought would be a little bit better. We have the Clefairy here from Lost Origin. This card is built around the Moon Watching Party, where once during a turn, if it's in the active spot, search your deck for Psychic Energy for each your bench Clefairy and attach it to that Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. And we're going to do damage based on those Psychic Energy in play, doing 20 times the amount of energy in play to attach to all your Pokemon. 60 HP is pitiful, which is not great, but does allow some cards that we'll get into in the later part of this video. The main problem with this card, honestly, is that not only is it frail, but it also has 2 retreat, and that's such a huge hindrance. If this card had 1 retreat, it would be usable with things like U-turn board, and you'd be able to manually retreat and net 3 energy still, which would be a lot better. Unfortunately, this card is just not amazing, but we're still going to talk about the list I came up with it. I tried 2 different lists originally. I played this with the Gardevoir from Next Destinies. It seemed like the most obvious pairing because Gardevoir doubles your Psychic Energy play if... No? Okay, there we go. Gardevoir from Next Destinies with the Psychic Mirage that makes each of your Psychic Pokemon, that Psychic Energy that's your Psychic Pokemon provide 2 Psychic Energy. Can't play more than 1 at once. I promise we'll get you an actual Gardevoir deck at some point in the near future. The attack is horrible, don't worry about it. The problem is that you just can't consistently get a stage 2 out and power up the Clefairies in good succession. You could do more damage, but it's just not going to happen. What you're going to aim for this deck is just get all of your energy in play and just be hitting for like 300 damage, and just basically board wipe your opponent before they even get to start. So you're going to want to have like the most aggressive turn 1 possible. This deck has no niche outside of that. We play 4 copies of Juniper. Speaking of aggressive, we need the most fast and aggressive draw supporter and expanded, so we rely on Juniper. 4 copies of it is good. Do play 2 copies of Guzma just to be able to gut our opponent. If we hit something for like 220, a lot of times that's not taking a KO, so let's gus it up and KO it with Guzma. Switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon when they're active, and then you switch your active one on your bench. It's worth playing over Lysander in a specific deck because Clefairy also gets a bonus because you can use a Moonwatching Party on a Clefairy you're not attacking with, and then Guzma, a Pokemon up, switch into Clefairy, and use another Moonwatching Party. So yeah, you get a bonus switching effect. There's a lot of switching cards in this deck. Yeah, Guzma's good. Play 1 copy of Brock's Grit. You're not going to see me play Brock's Grit in many decks, but this is one where it's absolutely necessary. Shuffle 6 and then the combination of Pokemon and basic energy from your Scribble into your deck. The reason this is here is just because you're going to lose a lot of energy, you're going to lose a lot of Clefairies. You need like 4 Clefairies in play at all time, and you need all of those energy back into the deck, so that's why we play Brock's Grit, is because you need those things to happen. If you weren't playing Brock's Grit, I found that like other recovery cards just weren't doing enough, because things like, you know, I do have a Super Rod in this list, but like things like Super Rod and Ordinary Rod just can't get back enough cards. Clara puts them to hand, meaning you can't Moonwatching Party the energy back. Yeah, Brock's Grit's better. That's our supporters, literally just 7 supporters. This deck is extremely item-based. 4 copies of Level Ball. Search your deck for a Pokemon with 90 HP or less, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Obviously, searches our Clefairy. 4 copies of Fog Crystal. Search your deck for a Psychic Energy card or a basic Psychic Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So also gets Clefairy, also gets Psychic Energy, but you're usually not doing that. 4 copies of Battle VIP Pass. You can only use it during your first turn. Search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon and put them onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. So you're just going to want to get all of your Clefairies out turn 1, absolutely necessary. You cannot play the deck without getting them all turn 1. 1 copy of Hisuian Ball just allows you to look at your prize cards, reveal a basic Pokemon you find there, put Hisuian Ball in its place, and then shuffle Hisuian Ball back into the prizes. Clefairy is a basic, so if you prize a Clefairy, use Hisuian Ball to get it out of the prizes and play it down. If you prize 2 Clefairy, you scoop and move to the next game. Next we have our switching cards. We do play a fair amount of switching cards. Honestly though, you could argue for more. And that is the weakness of the deck, is that realistically there is more that could be done. 4 copies of Switching Cart. Switch your active basic Pokemon, with one of your bench, then heal 30 damage. So we do play Switch as well, but you're just going to play 4 Switching Cart to Switch rather than ladder, because there is like some very small occasions where that 30 damage could matter, and there's no reason not to. You play all basics anyway. 2 copies of Switch. Switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench. Just going to switch our Clefairy to the bench and hopefully get another Moonwatching Party off. Escape Rope works like a Guzma, except for your opponent gets to choose, so it's a little less good, but you get another switch, and you can potentially bring up something your opponent doesn't want to the active. So, pretty good. That is 8 switching cards in total. Again, you could definitely add more, though. Because frankly, if you just you're like, oh, I'm gonna get 4 Clefairy, I don't have to worry about, Fog Crystal, or I guess you'd cut Level Ball before Fog Crystal, but Just cut your level balls and be like, oh, I'm going to get Clefairy, and then just increase the switch count by 4. If you want to do that, go ahead. Again, this deck is bad, so don't rely on it being good. 2 copies of Rescue Carrier. Put up 2 Pokemon with 90 HP or less from each pile into your hand. You know, why not? By the way, Among Us. You're welcome. But you're just going to get your Clefairies back. You need 4 in play at all times. If you don't want to Brock Skirt them back into the deck, you just want to Brock Skirt energy. Better use the Rescue Carrier to get them back. 1 copy of Comp Search. Discard 2 cards from your hand, search deck for a card and put it into your hand. We're relying on getting those turn 1 combos off, so we're usually searching for Junipers and VIP Pass with the Computer Search to make sure that we're continually churning the deck. 1 copy of Super Rod, shuffle 3 in any combination of Pokemon and basic energy from your disc pile and back into your deck. This is definitely better than Ordinary Rod here because you're almost never shuffling 2 Clefairy back into the deck, but you are going to be often wanting to shuffle 3 energy. So 1 copy feels pretty good, 2 copies felt pretty invasive, so I went down to 1. 4 copies of VS Seeker. Since we only play 7 supporters, you're going to want as many uses out of Juniper, Guzma, and Brock Skirt as possible. First Seeker helps guarantee that's a thing. If you potentially want to find your supporters more consistent, you could cut into the Versus Seeker line and add random receivers, since we do play only 3 different supporters and it's very heavily weighted towards Juniper. Random receiver reveals cards from the top of your deck until you find a supporter, so it's going to randomly find you 1 supporter from the deck. Probably a Juniper in most cases. About 50% of the time, at least, a little bit more than 50. One of the reasons that this deck is better than it is in Standard, other than Brock's Grit, and like actually, you know, I would say it's better in Expanded than Standard. That's something I'm going to start off with. But one of the reasons it is better is because of Wishful Baton. If it's stacked to your active Pokemon and it's knocked out, you can move up to 3 basic energy from the Pokemon to one of your bench. So while the Clefairy does go down, if you can keep a Wishful Baton on when your Clefairy is KO'd, you're keeping those energy and they're just going to move to another Clefairy. Meaning you keep that damage in play, don't have to shuffle it. It's all good stuff. 1 copy of Float Stone turns one of your Clefairies hopefully into a pivot so you can get multiple Moonwatching parties off each turn. Just stash this to the Clefairy you're not going to be attacking with. And hopefully maybe get 1 or 2 turns out of the Moonwatching party multiple times without using switch cards. So, pretty good. 1 copy of Swell. Whenever each player plays a Stadium card from their hand, discard that Stadium card after discarding this one. Silent Lab is an auto loss for this deck, so if you can keep Silent Lab out of play, then you are good. If Silent Lab comes into play, then you scoop. And 15 copies of Psychic Energy. We'd love to run more. We just don't realistically have the space. You need 8 switching cards. You need lots of ball search because you need to be finding Clefairy every single time on the first turn of the game, having 4 Clefairy in play. At least 3, if like you have 1 prized and then you get it like turn 2, that's not as bad, but like at least 3 Clefairy in play every single first turn. Yeah, this deck is trash. I really wanted it to be good. I knew it was never going to be like Shadow Red or Calyrex good or anything like that, but I thought it would be at least meme worthy, something like the Regigigas decks that I love building so much. But it really just takes too much for too little. You're just not getting enough value, but if you want to give the deck a fun little go on the expanded ladder, then that's what it's here for. So yeah, there's the list. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next expanded deck profile or tabletop gameplay.